Sean Porter, and evidently I reside in the nightmares of Jeff Klein. 2 Thursdays ago, I contacted Mr. Klein in the evening after he was done getting his story straight with Barry Levy about tips regarding corruption of Jeff Klein. I told him I was going to the FBI with the tips because I couldn't handle the sheer volume. I asked for comment. I also asked him to make sure that my records would be produced in accordance with the Maryland Public Information Act and not obfuscated or impeded by the county attorney's office. That doesn't appear to be going so well. Apparently the list of attorneys that my tax dollars are going to fund is going to be redacted. You guys are going to black out the names of the ambulance chasers that are taking my money to defend corrupt politicians like Jeff Klein. I would ask that anyone that watches any of my interactions or is on YouTube to please go to www.fbi.gov to submit political corruption tips in regards to Washington County government, more specifically simply Jeff Klein. When you submit a tip or upload documents to the FBI, this is what will appear on your screen. I am not an investigatory law enforcement agency. I don't have any ability to help you. If you want to tell me about corruption at the hands of Jeff Klein, payoffs from Paul Crampton Builders, failure to disclose gifts on your annual forms, that's all fine and dandy, but it needs to go to the FBI, or like I did, you need to turn it over to the Office of State Prosecutor. They go after bribery pretty hard. Essentially, the county attorney uses outside counsel Kevin Karpinski. Kevin Karpinski also represents the town of Keedysville. The town of Keedysville did some dirty and illegal things. They hid 3,000 emails on a U.S. Department of Transportation server over a 6-month period of time, according to their general counsel. That matter has been referred to the Office of Inspector General. I've also contacted David Trone's office to see if he could help make sure that the investigation is expedited. Essentially, Kevin Karpinski causes problems with the town of Keedysville, gives them bad legal advice. They get into trouble. They drag Washington County into it and the Washington County Attorney's Office into it. And Kevin Karpinski, for some reason, doesn't see a conflict, neither does the county, in representing the county and billing the county to help get them and extricate them from the crap caused by Ken Lord in the town of Keedysville. To give you just a simple example of what's going on here, I was serving a subpoena for Ken Lord, the mayor of Keedysville, to appear and give testimony in regards to a Maryland PIA lawsuit in the Circuit Court of Maryland for Washington County. And his wife, who, these guys, there's a lawsuit about them maliciously prosecuting people and making false criminal accusations against them. His wife actually tried to have me arrested while serving a subpoena for trespassing. She apparently doesn't know the legal and statutory definition of trespassing. She tried to have me arrested for harassment, and because I informed her that I was also going to go to the FBI in regards to her husband, while she was answering her husband's cell phone because he wouldn't answer, she then tried to lie and say I impersonated an FBI agent, and that didn't work either. So the sheriff's deputy that responded was smart enough not to fall for any of her lies. But that is just one example of how desperate to hide the dirt some of these politicians like Jeff Klein and Ken Lord actually are. That they will try to arrest a guy who's trying to serve a subpoena. I did successfully serve that subpoena. It took 3 deputies responding to her house in order to serve the subpoena, while Ken Lord, evidently, based on what I observed, was hiding in his den looking out at me, pretending not to be home. That's the sort of corruption that the citizens don't want to be paying for. My taxes have gone up substantially, double for my property taxes. I know that's the fault of State Department of Assessments and Taxation, but you guys benefit from this increase in taxes. You guys are paying a county attorney a decent amount of money, and a county attorney appears at this point in time to be trying to maximize the amount of money that I can be charged for my PIA request, and then maximize the amount of redactions and withholdings that may allow me and others to correctly oversee the operation of the government. You guys are supposed to be transparent. You're not. You guys are destroying documents, or at least the former county attorney Kirk Downey is accused of destroying documents, hiding documents, wording things in such a way to avoid the public from knowing about documents. You hit a cybersecurity breach for what, a year before you finally came out with it? Kirk Downey's office had been bombarded with requests from local journalists I just call him the local Walter Cronkite, but there's another name for him. And every single time he requested information about the cyber hack, you guys didn't want to give it. Apparently you're not telling how much was paid. Apparently you guys did not want the FBI coming in to aid you in your little issue you had when you got hacked. But long story short, the public needs its public records. The Maryland Public Information Act is supposed to allow transparency in government. It is currently being obfuscated by Kevin Karpinski, consulting with our county attorney. The new one, I don't know how far into it he's going to be getting, but basically, you guys aren't producing documents, you're not providing transparency, and so I did what any pissed off citizen would do when they start getting frustrated, start getting the runaround, don't get documents, and start getting stonewalled, and start getting a whole bunch of tips about corruption regarding Paul Crampton builders, different developments, different things, you know, where you live, how much you pay in rent, subsidized stuff, failure to disclose gifts. All that stuff is not something I can handle, so I turned it over to the FBI, the Office of the State Prosecutor. Some of it is at the Office of Inspector General. I did give a statement to the Office of Inspector General in regards to what I know. I did also contact IRS CID division in regards to politicians taking kickbacks and subsidies from builders and then not reporting it on their income taxes. So those guys can look up your butt with a microscope. I can't do any of that stuff. I can't even find out how much I, as a taxpayer, am paying attorneys or what attorneys are being paid. So right now, I'm currently being denied or at least stalled and getting redacted copies of invoices for attorney's fees. So if you guys are using attorneys to try and figure out ways to keep stuff away from the public and to keep them from discovering stuff, that's the opposite of a transparent government. I don't like government corruption. I dealt with WCPS, and let me explain to you how much better Aaron Anderson is. They're giving me airline boarding passes. They're giving me invoices, not redacted. They're actually going so far as to give me license plate numbers of Board of Ed members. But when I come to the county attorney's office to find out how much of my money is going to which ambulance chaser, I can't even find out the name of which ambulance chaser is bilking my county out of my tax dollars. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. Any other citizens participation?
Yes, sir. So I just want to state for the record, Levi Trumbull speaking, and justice for Justin Holder. I know you guys know very well who that is because y'all are being sued by this individual. And it's very clear that you guys have a major problem here in Washington County with controlling your departments and having them turn over records that should be released. So I'm going to ask a question and then I'm going to make a statement. So how much of the Washington County taxpayers' money is going to be spent? Is going to be spent, these people in the audience, how much are they going to pay for lawyers to represent you guys throughout all of these different civil litigations you guys are involved in, because you will not produce what are otherwise very simple records? So the statement is that if you're a taxpayer here in Washington County, your money, you know, I don't know where you guys think your money is going, but I can tell you where it's going to go. It's going to go to pay Justin Holder's attorney's fees, if he has any. I imagine he's going to have a lot. He's got Adam Gravel and the very fine people who work for that law firm. And it's going to be a disgrace. That's where your money is going to pay attorney's fees and to pay for all their attorneys as it relates to very costly and very vast civil litigation that these guys are going to go through. Lawsuit after lawsuit. Turn the records over. We know that this is a big cover-up, big conspiracy type situation. The gig's up. You guys, basically what you've done to Justin Holder is absolutely ridiculous with the criminal charges, trying to say that his own property was not his property when it clearly was, because you don't want him doing certain zoning things that he's approved to do. So here's the thing. I have his actual complaint right here in front of me, and let's just take some of it, what he's basically uncovered. Mr. Holder first filed his Maryland Public Information request to the Maryland Department of Natural Resources to the county in the spring of 2020 initially. That's when he did it. Since the spring of 2020, Mr. Holder has been vigilantly pursuing his rights under MPIA to inspect public records in the custody of the Maryland Department of Natural Resources and the county with the least cost and delay as possible, Mr. Holder filed suit against the county and Kirk Downitz, the attorney here in Washington, on March 15, 2021, one of your guys' many lawsuits up here, resulting in the release of key documents, including what was described as Brady-type exculpatory evidence. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that's basically evidence that proves that they're engaged in criminal conduct and unlawful conduct, to say at the very least. And testimony further adduced that the county had, quote, double-deleted criminal evidence. Mr. Holder filed suit against the Maryland Department of Natural Resources in September 2022, and that suit directly resulted in the release of hundreds of key documents, not all of them as I understand, including Brady-type records that would not have been released without Mr. Holder going through the hardship of having to file suits. Over the past 3 years, Mr. Holder has made a multitude of Maryland public information requests to the county and MDNR in order to shed light on the public controversy surrounding environmental matters, the abandoned branch of the Washington County Railroad, and a quid pro quo pay-to-play scheme in and around the town of Keedysville, Maryland. You all know about that very well. After dozens of MPIA requests to the county, town of Keedysville, and the Maryland Department of Environment regarding water and sewer loans, grants, agreements, and policies, Mr. Holder was able to proffer the following indisputable material facts to the town, county, and MDE on November 14th. So, based on that limited document, the limited documents he did get, that you guys put him essentially through hell to receive, this is some of what he turned up. This is key. The Washington County government has not performed a triennial review of the water sewer plan in over a decade. That's required by Maryland Annotated Code 9503B. You guys have not done that. Number two, the Washington County government lacks a water and sewer plan that has been approved in the last decade and is as required, again, by Maryland Annotated Code 9503A. At least 6 existing properties in the 401 Keedysville-Sharpsburg Sanitary District are either discharging raw sewage directly into the waters of the United States or operating on-site disposal in the SI existing sewer area over what has now been designated, quote, a wellhead protection for the Boonesboro-Keedysville water municipal system, and that the U.S. EPA 201 construction grants paid over $15 million to install and complete sewer systems in the town of Keedysville in 1988, and 6 properties referenced are all located in the SI existing sewer service area that is represented to discharge through the Antietam WWT in accordance with NPDES permit number, so on and so forth. Now again, I'm not even going to read them all because I know that I'm out of time at this point, but the bottom, oh, and by the way, Director of Washington County Planning, Joe Baker, falsely stated that she would review the inconsistency with the 2009 water sewer plan prior to submitting a new comprehensive plan for approval. Yeah, same old situation. So I understand that there is going to be other people filing Maryland Public Information requests. I guess you already have. You guys need to stop playing around with the Maryland Public Information request. And that's, you know what, you're going to pay for it. Justin Holder, he's going to come out on top of this situation. You guys all know it. The people of Washington County, Maryland, they deserve better. They shouldn't have to have all their money go to lawyers to pay nonsensical litigation that shouldn't have to be brought in the first place, and then further, probably are going to get sanctioned in the long run. So, I'm not a Washington County taxpayer, but good luck to those of you who are.
Thank you. Anyone else, citizens participation?
Yeah, how was 5 minutes?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Ray Tucker. You can find me at 626 Washington Avenue as I am the Director of Development at Girls Inc. In 2022, Girls Inc. was able to provide morning transportation to the students of Salem Elementary School. I personally was able to pick these kids up, meet their faces, see their struggles, and